Hey guys, Bird Yugioh here, coming at you with another deck profile. This time it is going to be a Gouki deck. This was actually my third deck profile I ever even posted. It's a deck I love to play, and this version is a little different than the one I did before. I did mostly like a Gouki Dark Warrior version. This one is more or less a pure Gouki deck. That is more. It might be a little better for going against the meta. You'll see why with some of the card choices, but let's get right into it. Starting off with the best Gouki card that you want to see in your opening hands is Suprex. When he's normal summoned, you can special summon one Gouki from your hand, and then all of the Gouki monsters, if they are sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for themselves. So he's your level 4. Your level 1 is Octastretch. Basically, all the rest of them, you're not really going to use their effect that much. He has an effect if your opponent's monster attacks during damage calculation. You can discard this card, and the damage you take from the battle is halved. And then when your opponent activates an effect that would inflict damage to you, even during the damage step, you can discard this card, and the damage you take from that effect is halved. And then he's got the same effect if he's sent from field to the grave. You can add one Gouki card. He's really nice because he's, of course, level 1. So off of I Sold, you would only have to send one equip spell to then summon out Octastretch, which is really nice. 3 Twist Cobra. Its quick effect is if you contribute one Gouki monster, then target one other Gouki monster you control. It gains attack equal to the original attack of the attributed monster. And then again, if he's sent from to the grave, you can add a Gouki card. Headbat. If this card is in your hand, you can send one other Gouki monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then special summon him. And then a Gouki monster you control gains 800 attack until the end of that turn. He's your level 2. And then Riscorpio. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are Gouki monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. But the main reason you go with a pretty good array of monsters is you want different levels. Because of Gouki Rematch, you target 2 Gouki monsters with different levels, and you special summon them from your graveyard in defense position. That's an amazing card, and it just gets you so much card advantage. It's so good. A good little engine that I like to play along with the Gouki monsters is Neospace Connector, and then one Aqua Dolphin. If you don't open up 2 Goukis that you can summon off of Suprex, your next best normal summon is going to be Neospace Connector. If it's normal summoned, you just special summon one Neospatian monster from your hand or deck. It's not a complete brick if you draw this, but obviously that's one less card that you don't have that you can use in your hand, basically. And then you can tribute this card and target one Neospatian monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And then he is going to be, you can discard one card, look at your opponent's hand, and choose one monster in it. If you control a monster with attack greater than or equal to the attack, you destroy it and inflict damage. And a good little extender we play is Blue Mountain Butterspy. You ideally want warriors so that you can go into I Sold very quickly, or as quickly as you can. And also it's a level 4 as well. But it cannot be used as synchro material, but that doesn't matter too much for this build. But when you normal summon a warrior monster, you can just special summon it from your hand. So really nice. 3 Photon Thrasher, another extender. While you control no monsters, and you can just special summon this. So really easy to get out. And then in this particular build, rather than going crazy with the extenders and like the Dark Warrior engine with Malicious and Armageddon Knight and all that, I decided to go a little more like being able to play second. And so I'm doing some hand traps. So this particular one, 3 Ash Blossom and 3 Joel and Lockbird. They're really good against the meta decks. So this is what I chose. If you don't have Joel and Lockbird, Effect Veilers are really nice. And like say you don't have Ash Blossom or Joel and Lockbird, I would play like 3 DD Crow and 3 Effect Veiler, just for some really nice budget hand traps that are still really, really good. So that's the monster count. The spells, most important one is going to be Gouki Rematch. You're going to be searching it so easily. If any of your Gouki monsters are sent to the grave, this is normally going to be one of your searches, because it's so good. Gets you just so much more card advantage. 2 Instant Fusion. This allows you to go second as well, because we play Thousand Hydra Strict, and then also it's going to get you a Warrior Extender as well. And then our equip spells, which play Phoenix Blade and DDR. They're the most. This one's going to always get, you can always get this back to your hand just for discard fodder, for like nightmares and stuff like that. So that one's always nice to have. I would definitely suggest playing that one. And then really any other equip spell you got, but I like this one because you're going to be banishing warrior monsters from your graveyard to add this back to hand. So you can use those like discard fodder. So you're going to be having warrior banish monsters, and then you can then discard 1 card and target one of your banished and special summon it off a DDR. So if you happen to draw it, you can still use it. So that's always nice. And I only play 2. I know in my past build I played 5. That was mostly because the ideal play in that other deck is Armageddon Knight, whereas in this one you basically just need, you ideally want to be special summoning your Octastretch, just so you can easily get a monster out without playing too many equip spells. But you also have the option, if you don't draw any of those, to summon out Headbat. Say you already used Octastretch's effect. That might be nice to do. So just 2. Rhoda, search out basically anything you need. Any good monsters. Monster Reborn, you'll always be able to get something decent back from the grave off of Monster Reborn. Card Destruction, it'll help fix hands, or potentially, like if you hard drew Gouki Rematch and you just need to get another Gouki to grave, this is an easy way of doing that. You can always set Rematch, activate Card Destruction, and then activate Rematch. So that's always an option if you just need to get some monsters to the grave, or fix your hand. A great card. Pot of Avarice, you should be, it's good any time of the game, obviously mid to late game, but even after your first turn, you should have easily 5 monsters in the grave, because you're usually going through them pretty quickly by link summoning and whatnot. And then also playing 3 Called by the Grave. It is still, even though I'm playing hand traps to go second and stuff, it's still a very combo-centric, combo-oriented deck. So Called by the Grave is going to really help you out. Especially, you just really need to protect Isold. Isold is almost the key card in this deck. So protecting that from, Veilers and Ash Blossoms is going to help you out a lot. And then the last 2 cards we play, just 2 more Warrior Extenders. Phantom Knights of Shade Brigadine. Basically, if you have no trap cards in your graveyard, which you're not gonna, unless one of these happens to get in there, you can set this and then special summon it. Activate it the turn you set it if you have no trap cards in your graveyard. So you would set it, activate it, and then it becomes a level 4 dark warrior type normal monster. So really, really nice warrior extender to easily get you into Isold if you need to. So that's it, just 40 cards. Kept it as super consistent as we could. We play the hand traps, like I said, to just really help us against any meta matchups, while still hopefully being able to combo off and do some cool stuff. So for the extra deck, and actually the main deck is pretty cheap. Obviously the hand traps, but you can substitute those, like I said, for Effect Veilers, DD Crows. Other than that, these cards are all dirt cheap. Called by the Graves, obviously, but and then the extra deck, same kind of thing. There's not really anything too expensive. I do play IP Masquerena. It's such a universal card. I mean, if you don't have it, I would suggest getting it. You know, you're paying like $40 for a card, but it can go in pretty much anything. But you don't have to play it. Honestly, in this build, if you wanted to cut IP Masquerena, I would probably, I mean, everything else in the extra deck is pretty cheap, but I would play maybe like a Trigate Wizard, because it's still possible to make him. I just excluded him just for the sake of doing other stuff with this deck. But as you saw, most important card is I sold. You can even cut IP Masquerena for a second I sold if you want to do that, but I never felt the need to have more than one. One is perfect, so when it's link summoned, you add one warrior monster, and then you can send any number of equip spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard, and special summon a warrior with a level equal to the amount of cards you sent. So send one equip spell, you special summon a level 1 warrior monster from your deck. So amazing card, amazing in this deck. And then I'm actually playing just 2 Gouki link monsters. Jet Ogre just requires 2 Gouki monsters. You just target one Gouki card you control, destroy it, and if you do, change all monsters on the field to face-up attack position. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can make all Gouki monsters you control gain 500 attack until the end of the turn. So you can use those effects sometimes, but mostly you're using him to then go into Gouki the Giant Ogre, because he is absolutely amazing. You know, if you make Jet Ogre with 2 Gouki monsters, and then you search out your Gouki rematch, and then summon back those 2 Gouki monsters with that, you could easily, you know, take those and go into Gouki the Giant Ogre. He's absolutely amazing. He cannot be destroyed by battle and is unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters with attack less than or equal to this card. So when he comes out, if you make him a Jet Ogre, he'll be at 3,500. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this card and or a monster this card points to, you can make this card lose exactly 500 attack, and if you do, negate the activation. So it's your boss monster if you can get to him. Like I said, it's not too difficult at all. If you have 2 Gouki monsters, go into him, search out a Gouki rematch, summon those back, and then go into the Giant Ogre. And it's going to be a problem for a lot of decks to deal with. So I thought that was a nice little thing to throw in here. 1 Linkuriboh, if you happen to get out an Octastretch, like say you summon it off of Suprex, you can link away him for a Linkuriboh to get his search off, or whatever you need to do. I just thought it was nice for extending combos, and getting just 1 downward pointing arrow is nice as well. And then the Nightmares, they're probably the most universal part of this deck, just for breaking boards and stuff like that. Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, and Unicorn. And I also play a Griffin, just so you can potentially get a lock even on your opponent, but they're all just so good, especially going second. If you make a Griffin going first, that's also very good, because your special summon monsters on the field cannot activate their effects unless they're linked. So he will, you know, at least slow your opponent down, if anything. And then as you saw, 1 IP Masquerena, usually you're going to use this, and then on your opponent's turn, go into the Nightmare Unicorn, if you can. So it's one of your best first turn plays. If you have like a Griffin and IP Masquerena, really, really nice. And then 1-star Yugioh for some really good draw power and special summoning. It's an amazing card if you can go into it. So sometimes you do. And then Borreload, same kind of thing. It's really, really good. It's just another boss monster, basically. If you can't make Gouki the Giant Ogre, or like a Griffin, you don't want to make a Griffin, or there's a problem monster on the field, Borreloads are a very good option. So that's it for the links. Quite a few. It is a very combo-oriented link deck. I'm pretty sure all of the Gouki extra deck monsters are all links, so it is basically a link deck. And then our instant fusion targets, one Carbonella warrior. He's your warrior. He's level 4. So you can go into your XCs with him too. And then 1,000 are strict. If we're going second, it's sometimes really good to just steal a monster. Just get a problem monster off the board. Really nice. And then our level 4s or our rank 4s are Abyss Dweller and Tornado Dragon. I thought those were the most universally, like just good against a lot of decks. So I figured just play those two. You can play a lot of other cards as well. Dugaris is another one if you need some draw power. Baguska is always nice nowadays if you can't end on anything too crazy. It's sometimes just nice to have a defense position Baguska and hope that your opponent can't out it very easily. So yeah, that is the deck, guys. Gouki, it's a super fun deck. If you like combo decks, especially ones that are fairly cheap, like I said, there's not much in this deck that's that expensive, other than these hand traps and the IP Masquerena, but there's easy substitutes for those. You definitely don't have to play those, but I do really like these two cards. They make for some interesting boards that your opponent is going to struggle getting past most of the time. So yeah, if you guys like what you see, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.